It's June 27th, 2022. I'm in this section. Um, I'm watching over yesterday. The New Yorker had a gay pride parade. I myself went with my mother to go see her brother um, in something they refer to as a U.S. government run facility. I'm not impressed. The lack of care of his person and the personnel and the way the place is being run is shameful. In my normal course of action, through my studies and clinical work, um, in a matriculated degree program, as well as non matriculated personal experience, it is shameful. It's no longer a noble profession at the level of care for which they've hired. He's being, I mean, for me, I could do a whole write up on what I really feel, but I'm not. Um, when I turn on the television news, uh, it goes like this. While we were in the facility yesterday looking after the family member, Linda's brother, same mother, so same womb that she arrived through, or portal that she arrived through in dark matter into this universe. Lewis brought up a Netflix platformed theatrical production, let's say. It's under the title of Stranger Things. The topics discussed, key op words for me are 11, Hawkins, Upside Down, and Portal. They also mention it's cloaked in mystique, magic, and haunted by what they have seen. I put it on my Facebook, the link for the other person who put together a compilation for communication purposes. So I know that there's some societal person at whatever level of non-importance as myself in this position at the moment. Um, I'm then watching the eyewitness news from yesterday. I see that President Joe Biden is in something called a G7 summit. I have no idea what that is. Never heard of it. Or I've heard the television speak of this thing exists that they attend. I don't know who else is there. I don't know how the invitations go out. I don't know what's discussed. I have no idea of the importance or significance of it. Um, there's all then CBS this morning um, has at 56.02 a James Corb I call him Corbin, but I think it's Corden, and President Joe Biden commercial where President Joe Biden's calling someone and saying, because James is there next to him at his desk, saying that he just wants to be his assistant. Um, it then goes at 51.51 into a Chewy commercial. It's here's the synopsis from my assessment of just sitting there watching it in my own words, because in my own words, it goes back to a star that I share with somebody I deem very important at 8378 for an argument in a space between here and there that some might or might not remember exists. It says the Chewy box arrives for the Chewy commercial part, and then I'll go to the star importance at 8/3/78. But it says the Chewy box arrives, and Mom puts the medicine from the box into the peanut butter. So the two dogs in the window waiting for mail believe they are getting peanut butter when the box arrives. And it's a Saint Bernard and some other smaller dog. And one has an accent, one does not. And they're just like really excited. And they're just waiting at this window for this box to arrive. They also mention on the CBS this morning, they have it all jumbled up, I feel, in the wrong order. I feel that the 1.49.26 says a landmark decision should have been first, because that was the precedence for the argument that came first. That was where the campaign trail, where the promise to the upside down world started. That was the start line. And there's two choices of what's over the finish line. There's either Russia or Sweden. And here we are. That's a geographical certain when you look at the map. It's just the way it's labeled. Has no context other than that. So that is at 1.49.26, that a landmark decision. Then it goes to settling life's biggest disputes. I think this is so important with my star conversation with 8/3/78. And that's at 1.41.30. And then there's this story at history behind the abortion battle of 1.03.42. So if I go back to the Stranger Things conversation, and I go back to my star, who's 8/3/78, it's an initial pair of stars. In the beginning, in human relations, if the female's 78 and the male is 83, in childhood, the 78 would appear taller because there's a 5-year spread between the male, who is younger, and the female child, who is technically older by chronologics. For cataloging with an atomic clock that is also set by biology. So it's a biological clock that the two children own amongst the two of them, for this example, in star category. So now if the female is presented, being that she arrived in 78 at age 10, this male who arrived 83, who's only 5 years old, she's 10 years old, the height, stature, would be separated by quite a significant, if she gazes upon him, he looks to her like a child. Not that she feels she's adult-like, but there's an awkwardness between the age gap at that significant moment in time where he is 5, she is 10. So now if you ask the child at 10 and you say, would you like this to be your partner for life? If you are dancing in a ballet together, would you like he to be your lift and you be the point? And now that from where star 1978 came from makes no sense, because there's no company, there's no theater, there's no ballet, there's no anything of exposure for where she came out of the portal. Nobody's even talking about such things. And she has no idea what the 83 star that she shares is with. So that presents a whatever in understate, overstate. Then there's the 10-year-old version of, all right, well, but will we always, will this, like, I don't think at 5 he could lift me. If we're dancing, he's so tiny, how is he going to lift me he's only 5 and I'm 10, I'm too heavy. So that comes up for the star that's 1978. And then the adults having the conversation who are older and wiser, if we're in like a Star Wars kind of a way, they'd be like the Jedi, I suppose, or the Council of, I suppose, I don't have other words for, in this, whatever. And the star 1978's only concern is, if this is what the two stars look like in childhood, will at any point he sprout and be able to lift one? Will she at some point have a lighter weight or density than he? So this way she's not a burden to him. And it's enjoyable, this dance. But also, will he be something that she can look up to? I think that's the number one concern on my mind as a star delivered through the portal in 1978. The years on they call it annual, but the Anne were not as much of a concern necessarily as the ability to not be a burden, that he actually wanted to, that I stayed light enough, and that I could actually look up literally and not be the one that was at a weird angle having to look down. Those were the most important pieces of a male to female relationship. Not much has changed, except the humans got my part all wrong, discussing things that don't matter in the upside down, the portal system. I see them still doing this abortion debate, like as if the states level matters, when these are matters at global level. But things have misconstrued and been argued, leaving room for dangerous things in between. But to the children and the Jedi that were present in wherever it was, I heard yesterday, in order to get to a certain level, you have to have so many out-of-body experiences spiritually to a time spent in the field. On that, I know I qualify for certain. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. after we visited the uncle that was in a U.S. government facility yesterday in a healthcare, public healthcare kind of a way that I would never, ever want him to have to endure, not in the manner for which it's being run at the moment, from what I can visually, whatever. Um, we then went to the opposite side of the spectrum, which is my if in name only, I don't know, they call it godfather. I found out I'm his only goddaughter. That's important. Um, he and I were wearing the same shirt, except in complete lack of contrast. He had lack of contrast. I had contrast. I showed him that we were wearing the same. Also, my son Anthony, 2012, came with us, and as we sat there and the flag was in the wind flying, um, there was a garden, a small garden, or manicured little section. Um, and I said to my son, look, I said, Anthony, I said, um, he has a statue of your future wife. And so my son looks over and he said, she looks like you. And I go, exactly. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.